Throughout the Scream franchise, Ghostface has racked up an impressive kill count, from police officers to med students, fan favourites to Trevor. But in a franchise of betrayal and stabbing, call it Thanos because it's inevitable that some of those deaths are going to hit fans in the feels. So today I'm going to be ranking what I think are the top 5 saddest deaths in the Scream franchise as a whole. Hello horror fans, my name is Spookful. Spoilers for the movies on screen now, and let's get into our ranking. In number 5 for our saddest deaths in the franchise, I've put Annika from Scream 6. This Halloween pumpkin was only alive in the franchise for half a movie, but has garnered quite a strong fanbase in her short time on this movie mortal plane. Whilst our core 4, and the other people, are hanging around in Sam, Tara and Quinn's apartment,
yeah, what's up, bitch?
Ghostface emerges out the shadows and throws fake dead Quinn through the doorway, giving our protagonists a cheeky jump scare, before stabbing Annika and twisting the knife inside her. After Sam discovers there was an imposter among them and smacks Ghostface with a wooden plank block, the gang starts climbing to Danny's apartment. As Annika starts bleeding out, she tells her girlfriend Mindy to go first, and they share a very emotional goodbye. After Mindy makes it, Annika climbs onto the ladder, but just as she does, the Ghostface Grim Reaper emerges behind her and begins shaking the ladder, as Annika and Mindy start to cry as she reaches out her hand before Ghostface flips their lid and sends Annika falling to her death. The fact that Annika seemed like a cool, nice character, and Mindy and her's final moments together really get the emotions flooding every time I watch Scream 6, which earns her this spot at number 5 on our list. By the way, before we move on, if you are enjoying this video, maybe consider subscribing or commenting, it means a lot. Anyway, yeah, so, next in number 4, we have Tatum Riley, and her unfortunate fate at the hands of the world's strongest garage door. After she goes to get some more kelp soda from the spare fridge, she is trapped inside by the silent slayer Ghostface. Originally thinking it was a joke, she creates a quick TikTok sound, before Ghostface ruins the moment by slashing her with a knife. A small chase scene follows as Tatum hits Ghostface with the 1-2-3 combo, before she tries to escape through a cat flap. But as she is a human and not a cat, she can't quite make it through, and Ghostface raises her up, crushing her in the mechanisms. Tatum came across as a genuinely nice and caring friend and sister.
Does Mom know?
Yes, doofus.
Let's get you out of here.
Well, maybe the latter is questionable, but she was always a witty, funny friend to Sydney, and that makes it so much more heartbreaking when Sydney sees the aftermath of the masked killer haunting and runs away crying. If only she had used the human door instead of the cat one. But jokes aside, the scene hits me in the big feels, and the fact that it means we'll never get any more Tatum is very sad indeed. Number 3 is up next with Randy Meeks. Now you may be confused who first and second could be if Randy's in third, but don't worry, we'll get to that in due time. Randy won fans' hearts in the first movie for his meta-movie mastermind antics, and that makes his untimely demise in Scream 2 so much more tragic. Yoink. As Gail and Dewey are busy assaulting random people on a college campus, Randy trash talks Ghostface on the phone before he insults Billy Loomis, which strikes a nerve with our masked Ghostface. As Randy gets a little too close to the van, he gets yoinked inside before being turned into Swiss cheese. Quite a few things make this death so upsetting, from the fact that some cool dudes were right outside but were too busy jamming out to hear anything, or the fact that it took place in public and that Randy and Sydney didn't get a proper goodbye. It all adds up to a scene that's painful to watch when rewatching the franchise. But here is where the list gets interesting, as somewhat controversially, I have a 2-for-1 limited time deal for you in number 2, for Judy and Wes Hicks from Scream 5. Now before I get my membership from the Scream subreddit revoked for putting these above Randy, please just hear me out. Despite me being suspicious of her at the start, Judy wins me over by the end of Scream 4 with her saving of Gail's life.
What about the book? Looks like I'll just have to write it myself.
But the real kicker that makes this scene so sad for me is that our newly appointed sheriff is murdered helplessly in pure daylight, as she had quickly ran home following Ghostface telling her that they were in the house, and if she didn't get there or be Lemon Square, then her son would be turned into an Alfred Hitchcock reference. So when she is killed, she has no idea if her son is safe, or if he is dead on the other side of the door as well. Add on top of that how Wes is killed in his own home despite his preparation, and the slowness and hopelessness that comes with his death. It just makes it a lot more emotional to me than Randy's, as the whole family gets taken out in one swoop. The only thing that would have made it worse would have been if Wes had opened the door and saw his mum's body, which I'm very glad didn't happen, not only because that's very dark for a Scream movie, but also because it would have me bawling every time I watched it. Finally, and lucky number 1, you all knew who it would be from the start. We have our wholesome, funny, charming king, Dewey. This kill couldn't be anywhere else but number 1, for the pure emotional shockwaves it sent through the fandom alone. Dewey was and still is my favourite character from this franchise, and owns the record for the character to die after being in the most films, which was nearly stolen by Gale in Scream 6, but she pulled through out of respect, so you know. So Dewey could keep his award.
Wait, this is Dewey's thing. Hold up.
Got a weak pulse.
After saving Wednesday Addams from the hospital, Dewey turns back to finish his kill and pick up the loot drops. He walks along the corridor as epically as possible before getting distracted at the last second and getting a 2-for-1 on stab wounds. When I first watched it, I was sure that he would be fine, but then Ghostface pulls the knives up and I was like, damn, that's a lot of blood, and start getting a bit concerned. And then he falls to the ground and my heart just dropped alongside with him when we saw him laying there with his eyes open. Adding on the following scene of Gale's slow motion grief, the scene was the first and only one that genuinely brought tears to my eyes when first watching it. Even though he's gone, Dewey will always be the MVP of the Scream franchise, and that earns his unfortunate demise the spot at number 1 on our list. So yeah, that's my ranking of the saddest and most gut-wrenching deaths from the Scream franchise, that pulled on my heartstrings like a master harpist. If you want more Scream content, my Scream playlist is on screen now, or if you want to check out some more horror franchises, my Saw Killer analysis where I rank them from least to most evil is also on there now, so maybe check it out. But apart from that, if you enjoyed this video, maybe consider subscribing and liking. And thank you for watching, and until next time, I've been Spookful, and...
It's